jaħseb VIP hemmhekk fejn dan istarbu.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Malta, the home of this season's European Aquatics Champions League Final Four. As many players have said before, to be the best, you have to beat the best. And these four teams are the best, indeed. But there can only be one winner, and Recco, Novi Beograd, Olympiacos and Ferencvaros all have one specific thought in their minds, and that is winning the most special trophy of them all. My name is Leonarda Pavic, and it's a great pleasure to host this season's water polo spectacle here at Tyler Crocs Sports Complex. But before we jump into the story of the first semi-final, we're going to trace back the path of how it all became here at Malta. How did Malta become this season's home of Champions League Final Four? And I'm joined by men who are going to tell us all about it. First of all, Carl Itzo, the man himself, the president of the Aquatics of Malta, and also Mark Kitajar, the director of Sports Malta. Gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for joining us, first of all.
Thank you for the invite. And of course, it is an honor and a pleasure to host this big event in Malta. When we were assigned in January, this big event, not only for 1 year, but 3 years, we immediately started working on a daily basis. Mark, obviously, not only CEO of Sport Malta, but also chairperson of a local organizing committee. I think to see the setup today is a big miracle, and I'm sure all this effort that we have done will be given back to the Maltese public, to Malta as a country. You know, it's a big event. It's for a small nation like us. Let's hope everything will go the right way possible.
We hope as well it will be rewarding for sure. But Mark, I heard a special word before. It was a challenge. So what challengers were they when it comes to organizing such an event?
Yes, the biggest challenge was definitely the time frame. Because if you had to plan an event, that would have been fine. But knowing that you have an event in the last months and you have to do everything possible to get the best ever event, then there is a challenge. But what I was sure of, and what I told also to the other members of the organizing committee, Sports Malta and the Aquatic Sport Association, together with the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Tourism, we are used to these events in May and June. 2 years ago, we hosted the Special Olympics International Games, where we had athletes from all over the world, and the pool was one of the venues out of 5. And last year, we had also the Games of Small States of Europe, 9 countries, 1,000 athletes, and 10 different venues. This is another challenge. It was a different challenge because we are not working also only for the spectators and the players, but we are also working for television. So the pool, which was built in 1993, so you can imagine that is a bit old now, although the standard of the pool itself is of high level, we had to transform it to a television studio. Before it seemed to be a challenge, but with the expertise of everyone and with the will and the heart of the Maltese, we managed to do it.
Carl, it seems like there's a special bond between water polo and Malta, so we heard.
Yes, there's a big bond. Obviously, we are one of the few countries, not only the only country that hosts our summer league, the league in summer, and we are home to the best players in foreign scene. We had big names in Malta, especially world champions, Olympic champions. Why? Because it's played on 2 months, and players are on break if they are not on the national team. So, and it's for them also another chance for them to keep in form. But also, it's like Malta in summer is a very beautiful place, a beautiful country. So it's also on a holiday, even though it's a very tough competition, and world-renowned players have said that. And I think the love for water polo will continue to increase after this big event.
I have to add to that because water polo is a team sport, and from a tiny island it's not easy to have good teams, and water polo is one of the teams to qualify directly for the final phase of a European Championship, not only at under 16, under 19 level, but also at a senior level for a number of years. Now we have also another sport, which is futsal, which also joined and qualified directly, but water polo at the level of water polo reached by these countries is of a high level. We managed to invest as Sport Malta, which is the government entity for sport, in different pools. We increased the number of pools, and we also have an indoor pool now, and we are able next week to host the World Championships for under 16, where we have 32 teams, 8 games daily here and in the other pool, which is for us is a big thing.
It's a big thing for sure. Another special thing that we know for a few weeks now, maybe a few months to be precise, because Malta will be the host of the Final Four, not only for this year, but the next year as well.
Yes, definitely, it's a big feat. It was our dream, obviously, to host such an event. But I would like to definitely, before saying all, to thank the Ministry of Sport and Education, especially the Honour Minister, Mr. Clifton Grima, who was from day one there to help us. You know, it's a financial burden as well, of course. And also the Honourable Mr. Clayton Bartolo, who is the Minister of Tourism. They were the main sponsors, together with Sport Malta, of course. But this wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for them. But now, here we are. Let's hope it will be a big event.
And to add to what Carl said, for us it's important to have a 3-year event.
Yes.
I was a bit skeptical to have to organize this in a couple of months. But now we need to leave a legacy. And what is the legacy that the Champions League is going to give, apart from the publicity of Malta all over Europe? As from next year, we're building new stands on the other side. Now we have provisional stands, but they will have new stands. We are giving ASA now a new scoreboard, which has a history of about 20 years old. Now we're going to change it, and we're having as well new lights. So for next competition, Champions League Final for 2025, we will have all this, which will serve as a legacy for the water polo in Malta.
Great plans for sure. I mean, we are all looking forward to seeing what next year it will hold for us. I have to ask, I mean, when you take everything that we said just now in the past few minutes, it is a sold-out crowd, right? So I can imagine if these 3,000 people that are going to be here not only tonight but also in 2 days, I can imagine what number will be then when you build the new stands and everything else.
Yes, of course. It is important that this event is sold out because the atmosphere also, and but I'm sure also it has to be delivered well on TV. So that is also publicity not only for local water polo but also for our country.
Let's not forget that Malta is not used to big events. Big sporting events, because other events we host the Isle of MTV, we host various different concerts, but as big events, sporting events, we're not used to them. So for example, people are used to come to the matches 15 minutes before. Now it's time that they learn. That's why we organize a fan zone outside where they can enjoy, they can socialize, they can hear music, they can have fun. So this is another thing that we need to install in our general public, just to come for water polo, yes, to see the match 1 hour or 2 hours for 2 matches, but also to enjoy a whole afternoon in sport.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us at this first part of our journey together with water polo. Okay, so now we turn our focus to Pro Recco. To be precise, what Pro Recco did to ensure this Final Four spot. The reigning champions. The club with the most titles of the LEN Champions League. Pro Recco started their climb to the top as a part of Group B, including Olympiacos, Jug and Dinamo Tbilisi. Long story short, 6 games, 6 wins. 2 matches that stood out were the games against Olympiacos, as the Italian side ended the games with 1 goal of advantage. So all of the exams were passed with flying colors, meaning that they were the winners of the group with 18 points, 81 goals scored and 52 conceded. Dominance through and through, and so it continued in the Group A. Novi Beograd, Marseille, Jadran Split, no one could knock Sandro Sukno's side off their pedestal. Novi Beograd being the closest one to that scenario in the 3rd round, with their penalty shootout drama in Belgrade, where it was 15-14 for Recco in the end. First place of the quarter-final stage group, total of 17 points, 169 goals scored and 110 conceded. It should be noted that they lost only once this season. They won the Italian Cup 10 consecutive times, but couldn't extend that streak to 11, as Brescia was more precise side in the penalty shootout. Meaning there would be no 3rd consecutive poker of trophies for Pro Recco, but 12th Champions League title is still on the line, and the favorites to win it will give their best to make it 4 European trophies won in the last 4 finals. I'm joined by one of Pro Recco's men, the guy that wears their cap for, let's say, 12 years, but if you count on the years in the Italian national team that he said goodbye to 2 years ago, then it's even more. Matteo Aicardi, thank you so much for joining us, and I have to ask, since you won this trophy so many times before, what is the recipe for the Pro Recco at this season?
There's no always the same recipe for us, but in the last 4 years, our team became a very strong team also outside the water, and I think this was the secret for us to win 3 championship, 2 Champions League and 2 championship in a row. So this is the recipe, I think, a good team in the water and out of the water.
When it comes to Malta, obviously it's the first time we're here, but when it comes to Belgrade, for 3 years it was a really happy place for you guys, for Pro Recco. Is this pool going to be it for the next 3 years? But let's start with this one.
Yeah, and we were lucky to break the dreams of Novi Beograd 3 years in a row, and let's see what happens now in Malta. We know that the teams are very, very strong. The formula has changed a little bit because the Final Four, it's different. It doesn't allow you to play the quarterfinal, to introduce the team into the finals. So let's see what happens.
Olympiacos is your opponent tonight, the team that really did give you a lot of trouble when it comes to the last few years. The Genoa final, the semi-final is the year after that, and in this group stage as well of this season.
Yeah, we've been fighting against them since a long time ago, and also in Hanover they beat us last 30 seconds. This year I think they have something special because they're like the Greek national team plus 3-4 very good foreigners. So it would be a very challenging match for us for sure.
When it comes to your ex-teammates that are now in the other side, should I say in the other cap, some of them you recognize, but where do you see it's like the biggest main threat when it comes to Olympiacos? Of course, Ganidunias and his shot as well, but in general it seems like there's a lot of quality not between their ranks, but also yours as well.
I didn't understand the question.
So what's the biggest, let's say, attacking threat? Let's
Okay.
focus on that. So they have Ganidunias, the second best scorer of this season, but apart from him, there's a lot of quality players that they have, as well as you guys.
I think they have very good shooters. Ganidunias is one of them, but also Vamos and Papanastasio. It's hard for us to choose one of them to be free to shoot. So, but it's the same with Pro Recco. So it's gonna be a good match, and I think the key will be play a little bit closer to Vamos.
We saw those 2 games when it comes to this season's group stage, and I have to stay a bit on that because it was only 1 goal of a difference. So that tells, if someone didn't see those games before, it tells how close they were, but they didn't destroy you guys, they didn't manage to win.
Yeah, and both matches in Recco and in Athens were very, very close. We started at both of them very, very bad, so we had to struggle ourselves to recover the result. And the key today will be for sure starting aggressive since the first minute, because if you leave them a little bit of hope, they're very strong in this. So let's see.
We saw that, Matteo, in bocca al lupo alla tua squadra. I have to finish in Italian at least.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us once
lupo.
again.
Thank you guys, bye-bye.
That was Matteo Aicardi. So after we heard what he has to say, now we're gonna jump at the little portion that we filmed yesterday, actually, because we talked to Sandro Sukno, the coach of Pro Recco, and let's hear what he had to say.
Coach, 2 games before the end. One really big one in front of you against Olympiacos that has shown this year that it is a really dangerous team. How do you see them?
That's true. We are on the end of the season, Final Four for the best teams in Europe. we are completely focused on the first game of semi-final against Olympiacos. They are very good team with a good roster, with excellent players from Greece and foreign players from Croatia and Hungary. And we expect one very exciting and interesting game, but I believe in my players and I hope that we can go in the final.
How to stop Olympiacos? They have a good center line, a really good outside shot. How to stop that flow of the ball?
But it will be difficult and complicated. They had an excellent roster. I have huge respect of my colleague Hrvoje because he brings something new this year, like high intensity and transition. I respect the last years Olympiacos always played very well and very organized water polo, but he brings something new like high intensity. It will be difficult, but we have our quality, and I repeat, I believe in my players, and we have quality to go in the final.
Yeah, Recco is Italian champion again. You have shown your quality in this season of the Champions League. What is the condition of your team? Everybody healthy?
Yes, everybody. We have 15 players. I need to choose for first game 13 guys, but everybody is ready and will be ready for tomorrow at 19:00. We'll be present in the national pool of Malta.
Now I'm joined by a legend of water polo himself, a man that needs no special introduction. My guest now is Ratko Rudic. Ratko, first of all, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
When it comes to the first semifinals game, of course, there's a special bond between you and Pro Recco tonight, so we'll start off with them. An amazing feat to win this Champions League 3 times in a row. At Malta, they have a chance to make it 4 times, something that no other team has ever done before.
Yes, Pro Recco is now still one of the strongest team in the world. They proved this during the last competition this year. And Recco is a combination of the young players and experienced players, and they have covered all the position in the field. They have excellent two centers, Kakaris and Halok, American. They have a very good defense with Ivovic. I think he will play. Yeah, and they have some excellent players on the left side and on the right side with Di Fulvio, Zalanki, the left-hander, and for me, one of the strongest players, Australian younger. So they have a lot of possibilities how to play, how to adapt the play, and at the end they have really the high quality, the players that they guarantee them always one very high level of the game. And they have also the Croatian coach, young coach, extraordinary player, and now very successful coach. And altogether, it's a great guarantee for Recco to win also in this competition.
We saw that in recent years, most definitely. And when it comes to their, let's say, bad sides, I mean, when you talk about bad sides and Pro Recco, it just doesn't add up when you put them in the same sentence.
But, you know, it's when we comment the game of Recco, any team has some bad sides. So bad sides could be, you know, that most of the players are not in the good shape in this moment, but I don't believe that. So there is so little, you know, that it's possible to have to show some of the bad sides. But who knows? I hope and I believe that they will show their good side.
You mentioned some of the players that are top quality that Pro Recco has within their ranks, and I want to talk about the new acquisition of this season. Apart from Kakaris, it was also Kandemi, a player that is one of the youngest ones and definitely one of the most promising ones.
Yes, that was the the politics of Recco. Also, when I was in Recco, we started with the acquisition of some high-quality young Italian players. One of them is Condemi, who has a great future, in my opinion, and that will be for him one good experience and for his development as a player.
When we're talking about the things that have changed, how much did it change apart from the sports politics that is the same, but is there anything that has changed since your time at Pro Recco?
Okay, there is some changes. They get some players, the high quality. For example, new players. For difference of my team was Younger, who is an extraordinary player. Zalanki also is a spectacular shooter, and also the two center forward, Halok and Kakaris. And that is I could say the strong part of the team.
Let's switch the focus to Olympiacos for a second, because I talked to Aicardi a few minutes before. It's a team that really did give a lot of trouble to Pro Recco in the recent seasons.
Yes, there is always some story behind some games. And Olympiacos is one of the teams that was playing with Recco. Always very tough games, sometimes winning, sometimes losing. But it's a team, you know, that which can play with Recco. And Olympiacos is also coached by a young Croatian coach, and so it will be the game with the two coaches. But also Olympiacos has a strong team. Some of the players demonstrated during the season high quality. You know, they have the good, especially Gerudiadis on the left side, and Vamos was playing very good. They have the experienced players, Fontoulis, two center forward, excellent, as Lonchar and Nikolaidis. And so both sides, they have one player that is very similar. Here is in Olympiacos, Bušlje, and Recco has Ivovic. This is very similar kind of the players, very strong in the defense, and they can help team a lot.
There are a few Croatian players you mentioned as well. We're going to add Bijac to that bunch, because they are all ex-Pro Recco men now but for many years, let's say, apart from the last acquisition. They're in the Olympiacos red and white cap for many, many years, and they have definitely built the successes of Olympiacos in the recent years.
Yes, but you know, the fact that they were playing with Recco don't influence anything. You know, now this is the single game. It's a game with the high psychological pressure, and all of the players, they want to prove that they are the good qualities player. They want to try to play the best as they can, and I think there is no matter were they playing before for Recco or not. Now they are playing for their teams, and they will do everything what they can to win this game.
Ratko, thank you for now. We will now jump to the Olympiacos' road to this Final Four of the Champions League here in Malta. Olympiacos started their European journey in Group B, featuring reigning champions Pro Recco, Jug and Dinamo Tbilisi. All of the obstacles from the first part of the competition were passed, except for the two games against the Italian giants, Pro Recco. But it should be mentioned that there was only one goal of a difference that went to their opponent's side. First, it was 12-11 in Recco, and then 11-10 in Athens. The game against Jug in the first round was also a tricky one. The question of who's taking the points home was answered after the penalty shootout, where the players from the Greek club were more successful. Second place with 11 points, 87 goals scored and 57 conceded, meant that another chapter of their European story was about to begin in March, also as a part of the Group B, featuring Ferencvaros, Barceloneta and Brescia. So, another Final Four traveler in the quarter-final group stage, where the Greek side made sure to leave their mark, Ferencvaros gave them their only taste of defeat in the first round back in March in Budapest, but they made sure to repay them back in the fourth. The win against Fradi in April with the result 10-8 was one of the biggest surprises for many water polo fans throughout the old continent, as it ended the Hungarian club's dominance in all competitions. It showed that Hrvoje Koljanin's side is a force to be reckoned with. Second place with 14 points secured, only 1 point less than Ferencvaros. Total goal scoring count stopped at 165, and it should be noted that they had the best attack when it comes to the first and second phase of the competition, out of all the final 4 contestants, and 125 goals conceded. That's the short story of Olympiacos' aim to equal their success from 2018, when they conquered Europe the last time. So, Ratko, Olympiacos cruised to the group phase, to the quarterfinal group stage as well. Both Group Bs, both 2 second places. I'd like to focus on the second part of the European season because we saw them beating Ferencvaros, that was unbeaten up until that April, up until that game in the fourth, I think, round of the quarterfinal stage.
Yes, the first part of the season for Olympiacos was not so good. And they show, you know, sometimes good, sometimes not so good games, and the shape of the players was not always on the high level. And but what's happened at the end of the season, when were most important, they start to play very well, and they find this chemistry between them, and some of the players, they show the great possibilities, especially Genudiadis on the left side and the Vamos on the. So I saw Vamos at the beginning not so efficient like at the end. So you know they have the players now. They are very good prepared. If they play on the same level here on this game as they will play during the second part of the season, that will be very tough for Recco.
I have to say it is a neutral venue, of course, here at Malta, but we saw them being unbeaten at their home in Athens, and there were many games that they played there mostly unbeaten. Let's put it that way. But it is such a strength to play at home for Olympiacos. It's like a specific club that we can point out in that term. And here at Malta, of course, there are many of their fans. We can see them up from here as well. But when it comes to their recipe here, what would you say? What does it take for Olympiacos to win the Champions League for the third time?
Oh, it's very easy. First, they have to win against Recco, which is for me is the toughest duty this tournament. And if they can win the Recco, they can open the way to win the tournament. But it's always difficult. This is the top games of the club competition. So this is a festival of the water polo for clubs, and so all the players are in the focus of the public and the media, and so everybody wants to show how they play well. And I think if they can support, all these conditions on the right way and show their qualities in the pool, because at the end, all the quality of the players on the paper doesn't mean so. So you have to jump in the water and score the goal. So we will see who will be, better in the scoring the goals from each side and from the other side.
Ratko will take one more short break because we have to open the chapter called Hrvoje Koljanin, the coach of Olympiacos. Let's hear what he had to say.
Coach, semi-final is in front of us. You have a big obstacle in front of Olympiacos. Can you tell us a little bit about the style of play of your opponent?
About Recco, I think the best team in the world. They showed this last 3 years. I think Sandro managed this team even to play better. We will tomorrow face one team that we will not have pressure. We will try to play our best game and to see what will happen inside of the game.
You played 2 times against Pro Recco this season, 2 very close matches, but 2 Pro Recco wins. How do you remember these 2 games?
I remember that we lost both, and but these 2 games was before 6-7 months, so I think this doesn't count at all. Maybe we show that we can play against them, but our target is for sure tomorrow to make one better face and to show quality of Olympiacos.
Yeah, you showed in this season with Olympiacos that you can win big games. You had several very, very important games in the quarterfinal stage that went to your team.
Yes, after the first game of the second round, we find our rhythm and we play game by game better. So now it's the last days of the season. We have approved everything what we was doing until now and just enjoy the game and try to make a win.
It's always interesting in these semi-final games. It always seems that the, let's call him a favorite in this game, has a little bit of a more difficult task.
Yes, it's Final Four. It's the best 4 teams in the competition. In every sport, Final Four is something different. We saw this in handball, in basketball. I hope so that we'll see also in the water polo. It's a big pressure because it's took just 2 games and you have from one side much to win and from the other side you have too much to lose because it's in the season. You are just playing 2 games, semi-final and final. If you want to take trophy, you have to give your best face in the 2 games.
Ratko, let's talk a bit about Hrvoje Koljanin, the man who replaced Teodoros Vlahos this summer, a man who we saw as a coach of Uljagmeni. He was also the assistant coach of Vjekoslav Kobešak there at Jug. How do you see his performance this season?
Okay, I know Hrvoje Koljanin very well because from the last year he is also the coach of Croatian national team under 18. So we had some meeting, we have discussed some matters about water polo. So he's a young coach, very motivated, and now he wants to come on the top, and it's ambition of every coach. He has this experience that he worked first with Vlahos in Greece, then Kobešak, then as a nation. So all these activities are very good, you know, for his personal development as a coach. So for me, he is arriving on the level that he can coach the team who can win the greatest results.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was the assistant coach when Olympiacos won the 2nd title of the Champions League, right, in 2018?
Yeah. So he has this experience, but you know, it's different to be assistant coach and to be head coach. You know, as a head coach, you have to make certain decisions and you have to take responsibilities, and so it's now he has also this experience, and this experience can give him some push towards this game and maybe toward the good result.
Are we brave enough to try to predict the first finalist?
No. You know, this is the game. Okay, maybe the Pro Recco, they have maybe a little bit advantage, but it's nothing. I can say always is 50-50%. We don't know, you know, with how the players will enter in the game. What is, you know, the motivation? What is this feeling inside them? So we will see on the beginning of the game what happens. For that, this game will be so interesting.
Okay, let's try with the second semi-final game. There's Ferencvaros, there's Novi Beograd, the Novi Beograd that may have that third time's the charm thing, because as we know, they were two times in the finals, but they didn't manage to win against Pro Recco.
Yes, Novi Beograd is an excellent team, and they have the really good player on each position. This young Granados is a new star of the world water polo, and but they have also one lack, because there is no Jakšić, who is not playing, and for me Jakšić is for them one of the basic player, and that will be maybe one weak point for Novi Beograd. But anyway, very strong team. Coach is experienced coach, and they will create more difficulties to Ferencvaros, and who knows, maybe also without Jakšić they can play equally with Ferencvaros.
When it comes to Ferencvaros, there are many familiar faces when it comes to the other side as well, because as we all know, Dusan Mandic switched caps, and now he's one of the key components within Ferencvaros.
Yeah, Ferencvaros is full of the great players. Mandic is something that is added quality of the Hungarian team, but they have others as Danish Varga. They have one of the players that I like very much is Di Soma from Italy. He was in the last year he had make great progress in his playing. And they have a lot of young Hungarian players. Young Hungarian players, they are players with the great quality. Only if they can keep this great pressure under control, they can show really very good things during the game.
One last thing before we sign off, they won the championship, both Novi Beograd, both Ferencvaros as well, but they did it in a really specific manner, because for, let's say, 41 years, there was not a single team that won the championship without a single defeat.
Yeah, that's a great result for both teams, and but you know, the national championships, this is a good for the statistics, but then for this game doesn't count too much. Anyway, it's a good, you know, as you have to make the courage to the players. Okay, we didn't lose, so we don't want to lose, so it's okay. It is some kind of the motivation for both teams.
Ratko, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for the first part of our water polo journey together. Enjoy the first semifinals game, and then we'll be together back before the second semifinals.